Hi Scorpio, it's your girl Alex, and I'm back again to bring you guys more messages from the universe. I hope you guys are doing amazing. If for some reason I look just a little bit different, looks like I'm glowing, it's because I had a spiritual awakening while I was at Stillwell's Emporium this past Saturday. Okay, and if you would love to join me, I'll be back there February 28th, 2026. But anyway, let's get into your messages. I just had the most amazing time. Okay. Hierophant. Tradition, the High Priest. 7 of Cups. Yeah, I'm just glowing. The Chariot. High Priestess. Yeah, I know. 9 of Cups. My energy is all over these cards. I'm spilling out into the cards. Knight of Swords. And Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands. So, the Hierophant to me feels like spiritual advice. It feels like things that you're wishing, praying for. Hierophant is also the priest, the bishop, it represents marriage, marrying. 7 of Cups. Okay, let me just put the cards down before I start channeling officially. Ooh, sorry. Tower. I was just putting them down. Empress. Queen of Pentacles. Another Ace of Wands. 6 of Swords. Judgment. Shout out to everybody in Canada. Yes. Okay. All right. My cheeks are hurting from smiling so much. Okay. So what we got here? Let me get back into my Scorpio ways. So, first placement is the Hierophant with the Tower card. That's a spiritual awakening. The 7 of Cups with the Empress kind of says to me a lot of options and choices. Kind of feels like you can go anywhere you want to, almost like sky's the limit. I never say sky's the limit anymore. I say the universe is the limit, or galactic limits, right? But then you have to figure out which galaxy. All right. Moving towards financial stability. You're going to be able to move forward, move ahead. Ace of Wands, your intuition is telling you something new and exciting is about to happen. 9 of Cups and the 6 of Swords. 9 of Cups is emotional fulfillment. 6 of Swords is moving over into peaceful waters. Coming out of, say, for instance, chaotic emotions and now kind of leveling out. Oh, yeah, I got my nails done too, by the way. Knight of Swords and then the Judgment card. To me, that's kind of talking something out, right? And then last but not least, we have the Ace of Wands with the Page of Cups. So that, to me, this reading feels like, hey, I got some marbles. Oh, I got marbles too. Cool. You want to play marbles together? Yeah. Let's go down to this park and we can play marbles at this park, right? So it kind of feels like happiness on one side, happiness on the other side, happiness coming together, and then making a plan to go forward to be happy together. Now, at the end of the day, yeah, it has to do with two energies, right? Whether the energy is you and your boss, you and your business partner, you and your love partner, you and your mom, right? It kind of feels like, because I have the High Priest and the High Priestess here, okay? High Priest, High Priestess. The High Priest for me is like religion. The High Priestess, right? So the High Priest is almost like physical spirituality, which is religion. The High Priestess is where you don't need the church, synagogue, or mosque, or temple, right? You just believe without needing a physical intermediary or physical middleman, middlewoman, if that makes sense. So it's almost like that physical, energetic connection to God's spirit in the universe. Okay? You know something I also heard, that for many of you, I don't know if we're in Lent, right, for Easter and for, Christians, because I know there are Muslims and Jews and, there's everybody who practices different religions. And again, the Hierophant is a representation of that spiritual belief, spiritual practice, spiritual doctrine. I kind of feel like, again, some of you are going through some sort of awakening where whatever it is you thought, whatever it is that you believed, wherever it was that you were raised on, it's almost like some of that is breaking down now so that pure spiritual energy can move in and start to work with you directly. What I'm also getting as well, and what I also heard as well, was that for a lot of you, you are going through a physical spiritual awakening. When I say physical, I mean you're starting to hear, you're as in clairaudience, you're starting to feel as in clairsentience, you're starting to see voyance. I don't know why I said see. I don't know why I did that for seeing. Third eye is here. Anyway, but I kind of feel like emotionally a lot of you are a lot more open, and that's going to lead to heavy prosperity, clear path forward, illumination, enlightenment. It kind of feels like somewhere around March 1st or March 2nd, you're going to get a huge confirmation of this, okay? Now I'm reaching for my arcanum. So my angel says, so Alex, what does this all mean in a practical sense? I think the shortest way of putting it is that whatever it is that you've been wishing, wanting, hoping, praying for, or expecting from your life, from your destiny, you're going to start to see universal alignment, either to help get you there where you're wanting to go, or put you on the path of enlightenment or, spirituality. I just feel like in the end, things are starting to calm down with you for a lot of you, especially emotionally. I know 2025, Lord Jesus and Moses, 2025 was a very, very turbulent year on the emotions, right? I know we're in the year of the horse, and horses are strong and powerful and I want to say valiant. You know what I mean? They're just so regal and majestical to me personally, right? I would love to at some point to either go to that place in Puerto Rico, or there's a place in North Carolina. I'm pretty sure there are places all over where there are wild horses. I would love to be in that kind of environment, but the horses have to be used to seeing humans, right? I don't want this big, ginormous, beautiful creature coming up and, acting a fool. Because I'm like, listen, there can't be two of us here, Carl. All right. So now that we know you've gone through some sort of spiritual awakening, a lot of you have witnessed, it kind of feels like a maternal love came over you. And your intuition, your angels, guide, ancestors, you know what I just heard? That they've, how do I say that? Another, I guess one way of saying it is that they've made contact. They've made contact, right? In other words, they've been speaking to you all along. That's not what I mean. When I say they made contact is now you hear them or you finally heard them. If this is you, leave me a comment. Because I know, first off, spirits are all around. If you guys knew how many spirits were around you, you would never get out of bed in the daytime, okay? But it's almost like not just knowing that they're around you, but they are actually making contact with you. For those of you who they have been making contact, and meaning you've been receiving and hearing the messages, please leave me a contact. Please leave me a comment. Okay. So judgment and the Knight of Swords. Now say, for instance, the contact has been made. Now what? Well, you know what? Now it's time to relationship build. Now it's time to, form an energetic connection between you and your spirit guide. For some of you, your guardian angel came through. For some of you, maybe a parent who has passed on, you finally reconnected with them. For some of you, it's you and God and archangels or dominions or powers or virtues. Three of Pentacles, that's what I'm saying. This is a tribe. This is my tribal card. Mind, body, and spirit. The threes for me are mind, body, and spirit. Three of Pentacles is a group coming together for a common goal. Let me stop waving the card, right? So angels are saying whatever this is that you are going through, it does kind of feel ordained, and it feels like it's also going to work out, okay? I also feel like that Eight of Cups is, I describe the Eight of Cups sometimes as dark night of the soul. Notice she's turning her back on her emotions, but she's facing forward to the Queen of Emotions, which is the moon, right? So I kind of feel like for many of you, some of you could have been diagnosed with some sort of emotional ailment of sorts. Angels said there are many of you, like myself, who have a lot of water in your chart, right? I have Sun, Scorpio, Moon, Cancer, Venus, Scorpio. It's a lot of sun, but my Mercury and rising is Sagittarius, bitches. So there's a nice amount of fire there in my first 4 or 5 charts, 4 or 5 placements anyway. So I kind of feel like for some of you, that you have some sort of issue or ailment when it comes to managing your emotions. And I feel like for some of you, this spiritual awakening was really notification to you that either your emotions rule you, your emotions are out of control, you weaponize your emotions, right? Emotional abuse. And angels are saying for many of you, if you resonate with that, the reason for this is because of what the relationship was like between you and your maternal figure, your mother, right? Or the feminine energy that raised you. You can have been raised by a single dad, and your single dad, could have been emotionally unavailable, right? So that Eight of Cups is almost like you're walking away from being emotionally unavailable, which is what you inherited, karmic debt, from a previous generation or someone who you were around and were conditioned by for a long time. Okay? All right. Hanged Man. You know what? This is also Pisces. Again, a lot of emotion. Pisces, that Hanged Man is basically you had to change your perspective, right? You had to come up out of your point of view, and you kind of had to take a step back or a step left or a step right, or you had to elevate a little bit to basically see a situation for what exactly it is and or was. But it wasn't just about seeing a situation for what it was. It was also about how you were contributing or not to that situation as well. So as an example, you have an embattled relationship with, your sister, and you can't for the life of you, your point of view, you always looked at it as, well, she's got middle child syndrome, she's got oldest child syndrome, she's got youngest child syndrome. But, and I kind of feel like your relationship with your sister has been tied to emotional or predominantly emotionally, right? But when you stepped out of your perspective and you allowed the universe to come in with a different perspective, right? Inspirational, energetic, lineal, right? I don't know if that's a word, lineal, lineage, linear perspective, right? As in your lineage, right? Well, what was her life like growing up? What was your life like growing up? What your mom and dad's lives were like growing up? And how much you both inherited, right? Some of that behavior characteristics or traits, okay? So it was only until you actually took a step back, took a step outside of your point of view, that you actually got to see the situation for truly what it is and or was. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Six of Swords, peace, right? Going with the flow, chilling out. Yeah, so I kind of feel like for a lot of you, you have a revelation that's coming through. I'm also hearing that as part of this revelation, if for some reason you are not on speaking terms with someone, this revelation could cause some sort of renewal, resurrection, or reunion, especially in communication, right? My angels just said another way of describing this reading is that, say, for instance, last time you talked to your sister, brother, mother, cousin, ex-lover, ex-friend, last time you talked to them, there could have been a miscommunication. You judged them, they judged you, you jumped to a conclusion, they jumped to a conclusion, they never contacted you again. You never reached out to them again. Now, what this reading is saying is, now all of a sudden you're going to have this revelation that says, oh shit, this is what they were talking about, or damn it, that's what they meant, or shit, they took this, what I said, the wrong way, right? That's exactly what this reading is. And now at the end of the day, I'm not saying to you, hey, reach out, hey, talk to them, because you could have growth, right? Or you could evolve in a particular situation and not necessarily have to confirm or reach out or rectify with that other physical person. And here's why. Just because you had the V8 or a eureka moment doesn't mean that they did, okay? So now here you are all of a sudden right in your right mind, in your right emotions, in your right spirituality, and you're gonna go reaching out to them and they're gonna be like, "Arr." You know what I mean? And then you're gonna be like, what the, you know what I mean? Then they're gonna take you, it's almost like 2 steps forward. Hey, I'm evolving. I now figured out what happened in this situation. Then you go reach out to them and it's like, the fuck? Now you 3 steps back. So angels are saying, you know, because this is the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords does represent aggressive communication sometimes. So if I were some of you, I would weigh and balance it, right? I would take a page out of Libra's playbook and try to figure out, well, should I contact them? Should I reach out to them? Should I help, you know, clarify, you know, this situation? Listen to your intuition on that one. Again, angels are saying that's why the High Priestess is out here. 7 of Pentacles. There's that weighing and balancing, right? 7 of Pentacles has everything to do with, how am I going to play this position, right? How am I going to plant these seeds? Am I going to plant them in the front of my yard, the back of my yard? Well, you know, I'm planting sunflowers. Sunflowers need a lot of sunlight. So finding kind of like the proper place to do something or say something or, you know, kind of take action where it's going to be profitable, where it's going to be bountiful. Okay, so the 7 of Pentacles has everything to do with planning, right? But not necessarily just planning, hey, I'm going to go plant sunflower seeds. No, it's planning so you can reap the rewards later on. So if this is a situation where you haven't been speaking to someone, and not only do you want to speak to them again, but you want to improve communication, you want the relationship to improve, my angels just said, always remember, it takes 2, right? You are only 1/2, okay? You need the agreement from the other person that they're wanting the same things, and Ace of Wands, that they're willing to put forth the effort. The Ace of Wands is the ace of action, okay? So I would say to you, Scorpio, talk is good, but talk is also cheap if there's going to be no action and or changed behavior behind it, hopefully to match up with it, right? I'm going to stop, you know, cursing you out or cursing your name or calling you out your name every time I see you. Then when you actually see the person, you got to put the pedal to the metal, baby. You can't say, oh, hey, I'm going to stop doing this, and the next time I fucking talk to you, you're doing the same goddamn thing. Shit me. And I say got, G-O-T. I know some, I don't do that to my God. Ten of Cups. Yeah, so this feels like a reconciliation. Look, the card was, oh, look at that. Oh, shit. King of Wands with the Page of Pentacles. Now, in most situations, the King of Wands is non-committal. Okay, the King of Wands is, he is the person who will say something and not do something. But with the Page of Pentacles behind them, that kind of says to me, you could be dealing with somebody who would do it for a little bit of time, right? Page of Pentacles. And then when they would revert back to their old ways. So now what I'm being told is how you treat and or respond to this person is the next card, which I don't know what that next card is. So I'm going to pull it and we're going to see it together. So how do you treat this person, or what do you do with this person who says makes basically idle promises? They say they're going to do something and they never follow through. Whew, Wheel of Fortune, you're going to have to move on. You're going to have to move on, right? Because here's the thing. I know. I'm going to take both of these cards because remember, these are in your outcome position. These are in your outcome position, okay? The Ace of Wands and the Page of Cups were an outcome, and then the King of Wands was the outcome as well, okay? Definitely Ace of Wands, King of Wands, this person is only out to get whatever it is that they want or to remain relevant. They have a lot of pride. They have a lot of ego. They want to remain relevant, okay? Also with the Page of Pentacles, they offer very little. Especially they offer a little bit of love, a little bit of pentacles, but you know, how do you say, how does that benefit you? I was going to say, how does that serve you? But angels are saying, how does that benefit you? Okay. So we know that the Wheel of Fortune was how you should treat them, right? I'm trying to look, make sure this is facing that way, but I got to look there. The Wheel of Fortune just says, hey, this is cyclical. Definitely the King of Wands in the Wheel of Fortune kind of says that this is some sort of karmic cycle, or it's almost like, I know. My angel said those karmic cycles where every time you try to leave them behind and walk away, here they come trying to grab back a hold of you again because they feel you walking away. They feel their significance minimizing or reducing. So under the Page of Cups was the Knight of Wands. Under the Ace of Wands was the King of Cups. So Scorpio, at the end of the day, here's the issue, okay? They are the plug and you are the socket. That's the best way. That's why I paused, because I wanted to make sure I conveyed it crystal clear with the least amount of words. They are the plug, you are the socket. The plug needs the socket. The socket does not need the plug. The socket has all the power. The plug has none. And I know I'm going to piss off a lot of people by saying that, okay? Especially weak-minded people, right? Because evolved people, high-vibrating people say, hey, cool, let's work together, right? Let's create some light. If you're the lamp and I'm the power source, hey, let's create some light. But an egotistical, prideful, weak-minded person, I don't need Scorpio. Fuck that. Bye, 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 bye. King of Wands. This is Leo. So if you know someone who is a Leo or has Leo in their chart, hell, if you have Leo in your chart, this is your approach and this is your attitude, okay? But here's the problem. Because you are not plugged up, you remain in the dark. You remain in the dark, right? And for some of you, it's okay, and that's okay, whatever, you know. I ain't got nothing else to say behind that. My mouth is shut. Angels are like, well, baby, it can't be shut because you're doing this reading, so you're going to have to open it back up. I know. So here's what I need to say to you, powerful Scorpio. If you resonate with being the socket, as in you hold the power, okay? My angels just said the socket is in the dark too, right? It's a true statement. It goes both ways, okay? But at the end of the day, you can always find another plug. And at the end of the day, the plug can find another socket, okay? I'm feeling, especially with the high priest and the high priestess, the relationship I'm describing definitely is a karmic. For those of you who subscribe to twin flames, definitely is a twin flame, right? But the issue here, or the challenge here, is for the two of you to learn to work together, because you need each other to create light. Love that message. Love that freaking message. You know what? I'm a mic drop right there, even though I don't have a microphone. Pew! I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna pull any oracle cards. I'm gonna leave it there, and I'm gonna wish you all a great week, and I will see you guys in the next one. I will be back at Stillwell's on February 28th. I hope to see you there. I mean, we just had so much fun. Love you guys. Bye.